22 years in corporate security taught me one thing. Every building hides secrets. But what I found inside Parkwood Entertainment wasn't just a secret. It was something so dangerous that powerful people will kill to keep it buried. Before I go any further, I need you to understand something. This isn't entertainment. This isn't gossip. This is my confession. The last thing I'll ever record before they silence me. My name is Frank Kowalski. I'm 48 years old, married 23 years, with twin daughters in college. I was never supposed to be here, telling you this. But once you see what I've seen, you can't unsee it. Started last spring when I got a call about a new job. Parkwood Entertainment, New York City. Supervisor role in corporate security. The pay was nearly double what I was making, with benefits so good I could finally pay off my daughter's tuition and maybe let my wife quit her part-time job. The recruiter told me, it's a straightforward assignment. Executive protection, surveillance, discretion. Nothing unusual. But here's the first thing that didn't sit right with me. They wanted someone with Army intelligence clearance. 22 years in Fortune 500 companies. I'd never seen a corporate entertainment firm care about military counterintelligence experience. But when you've got bills stacking up, you don't ask questions. You take the job. The Parkwood building looked ordinary enough from the outside. 23 floors of glass, marble, and understated luxury. Inside, it was pristine. Cameras in every hallway, biometric scanners at restricted doors, security consoles buzzing 24/7. On my first day, I met Howard Brennan, the director of security, supposedly retiring, but the man looked broken. When he shook my hand, it was damp with sweat, and he whispered, "Don't trust the tapes. Don't trust what you see." I laughed it off, but now I wish I'd listened. At first, the work seemed normal. Celebrities in and out of the building. Beyoncé, Rick Ross, Drake, Justin Bieber, all at different times. Each of them smiling, laughing, acting like they were in the safest place in the world. But then came the first red flag. During my second week, I was reviewing standard surveillance footage when I noticed something strange. At 2:14 a.m., in one of the private recording studios, Beyoncé walked into the room. 15 minutes later, she walked in again. 2 Beyoncés. Same night, same camera angle. I rewound it 5 times, thinking it was a glitch, but the timestamps were clean. No cuts, no tampering. She was there twice. When I brought it up to Brennan, he turned pale and slammed the monitor off. "Drop it. You didn't see that. If you value your family, you didn't see it." That was the first time I felt true fear. The deeper I looked, the stranger it got. Some celebrities seemed different when they left than when they came in. Drake once arrived to a late-night meeting looking exhausted, his eyes bloodshot, barely able to stand. He stayed in one of the restricted-level suites for 3 hours. When he came out, he was energetic, smiling, cracking jokes with his entourage. But when I checked the footage, his reflection in the mirrored wall didn't move in sync with him. I swear to you, his reflection smiled 3 seconds later than he did. Things escalated quickly. One night, I was ordered to monitor a private gathering on the 21st floor. A celebration, they called it. No cameras were allowed, but as head of security, I had access to the feed from the motion sensors. At 11:47 p.m., every sensor in the room went dead, all at once, for exactly 7 minutes. When they came back online, the only thing visible was a puddle of liquid on the marble floor. Thick, dark. Security staff cleaned it immediately before anyone could question it. The next morning, a junior artist under the Parkwood label was reported missing. They said he'd checked into rehab, but I knew better. I started making copies of the tapes. Quietly, discreetly. I thought if I kept records, I'd be safe. But the more I uncovered, the less safe I felt. Files marked Project Echo. Confidential contracts requiring artists to sign away likeness continuity. Surveillance logs showing multiple versions of the same person entering and leaving the building. And then there were the whispers. The staff called it the mirror room. The mirror room was on the top floor, behind 2 biometric doors and an unmarked hallway. My access didn't cover it. But one night, the door was left ajar. I shouldn't have gone in. God help me, I wish I hadn't. Inside were floor-to-ceiling mirrors, arranged in a perfect circle. The room was freezing cold, though no vents were visible. In the center stood Beyoncé, or something that looked like her. She wasn't moving. She was just standing there, perfectly still, eyes open but vacant, like a doll waiting to be switched on. And then, in the reflection behind her, I saw another Beyoncé, smiling, watching me. But when I turned around, the room was empty. That was the night I stopped sleeping. My phone began to glitch. My car alarm went off at 3 a.m., 3 nights in a row. A black SUV idled outside my house with the lights off. I confronted Brennan. He just shook his head and muttered, "It's not them you should fear. It's what they serve." I'm running out of time. I've uploaded copies of the tapes to a secure server. If you're hearing this, it means they haven't silenced me yet. But listen carefully. The celebrities you see on stage, the ones smiling on magazine covers, the ones posting on Instagram every day, not all of them are real anymore. Some are replacements. Some are echoes. And the ones who aren't, they live in constant fear of being replaced. So next time you're watching your favorite artist perform, ask yourself, is that really them? Or is it something else wearing their face? The faces of the people in the videos, Beyoncé, Drake, Bieber, even Jay-Z himself, they turn, slowly, toward the camera, like they know I'm watching, like they can see me. And sometimes they move their mouths in unison, whispering words that don't sound human. I went to the press. At least I tried. CNN, TMZ, Complex, even some indie blogs. I sent everything, the tapes, the contracts, the mirror room footage. But within 24 hours, every single email bounced back. Mailer daemon errors. Address not found. Then the phones stopped working. Not just mine, Patricia's too. My daughters. Their numbers still exist. But when I call, strangers pick up. Strangers using their voices. They sound like my girls. But it's not them. Last night I saw her. Not Beyoncé. Something wearing her skin. She was standing outside my window at 2 a.m. No bodyguards. No entourage. Just her. Smiling. Too wide. Her reflection in the glass was wrong. Her body was still, but in the window her reflection was waving at me. Slow. Like it wanted me to come closer. I nearly opened the door. God help me. I nearly let it in. And now the humming is louder. It's not just in the tapes anymore. It's in the walls, the vents, even in the mirrors of my own home. I smashed every mirror in this house. But the reflections didn't go away. They stayed, lingering in the shards, watching, waiting. Hold on. They found me. No, God, no. The mirror. It's Frank's voice, but it's wrong. There's nothing to fear. Parkwood takes care of its family. We'll see you soon. If I disappear after this, tell my wife and daughters I love them. And remember, trust nothing you see. Because at Parkwood, the mirrors don't just reflect you. They watch you. After I saw the mirror room, things got worse. Much worse. People at Parkwood stopped looking me in the eye. Staff I'd spoken to on a daily basis suddenly acted like they didn't know me. When I asked about Howard Brennan, the old security chief, they told me he'd retired to Florida. But I checked. There's no record of him leaving the state. In fact, there's no record of him at all anymore. Like someone scrubbed his existence clean. That's when I realized I was in deeper than I thought. One night, around 3:30 a.m., I was on overnight duty. An alert flashed across my console. Motion detected in B2 storage. Now, basement levels are supposed to be empty, just archives and maintenance. No reason for anyone to be there at that hour. So I grabbed my badge, strapped on my sidearm, and went to check it out. The air in the basement was wrong. Too cold. My breath fogged up even though the thermostat read 72. When I turned the corner into storage 17, I froze. There were figures, at least a dozen, standing in the dark, perfectly still. Their outlines looked human, but their faces weren't finished. Smooth, pale skin stretched too tight. No eyes, no mouth, like mannequins waiting for someone to paint them alive. And in the front row, one of them was wearing Beyoncé's face. Perfectly sculpted, perfectly alive. But the body beneath was just empty white flesh. When it tilted its head toward me, I ran. After that night, I stopped showing up in person. I told my wife I was sick, that I had food poisoning. But really, I stayed locked in my home office, combing through the files I'd stolen. That's when I found the contracts. Every major artist signed to Parkwood had a continuity clause. At first glance, it looked harmless. Likeness reproduction for promotional purposes. But in the footnotes, buried in legal jargon, was a single phrase that chilled me to the bone. The artist consents to replication in perpetuity across mediums and vessels deemed necessary by Parkwood Holdings Incorporated. Replication. Across mediums. Across vessels. This wasn't about image rights. It was about replacing people. The deeper I dug, the creepier it got. There were notes about subject JB07. I don't know if that was Justin Bieber or someone else. But the log said, host integrity compromised. Reflection drift observed. Immediate replacement scheduled. Reflection drift. That explained what I saw with Drake. I flipped through more files. Rihanna, Travis Scott, Megan Thee Stallion, all with similar notations. Host integrity compromised. Replicas pending. Echo approved. The scariest thing? Some had multiple entries, meaning they'd already been replaced. More than once. I couldn't take it anymore. I tried to resign. I went straight to HR, handed them my badge, and said I was done. The woman smiled politely and told me, "We'll process your paperwork." But when I checked my bank account the next day, there was no severance, no paycheck, nothing. My balance was zero, wiped clean. I called the bank. They said my accounts didn't exist. My mortgage? Gone. My credit cards? Declined. It was like I'd been erased from my own life. That night, my wife shook me awake. She was trembling. Her voice cracked when she whispered, "Frank." There was a man standing in the hallway, watching us. But when I turned on the light, he was gone. I checked every door, every lock, every window. Nothing was broken. But on the living room mirror, there was a single handprint, pressed from the inside. I'm not sure how much time I have left. They're on to me. I can feel it. My phone buzzes with calls that cut to static when I answer. My daughters say men in black suits sit in unmarked cars outside their campus. And every time I pass a mirror, I see something. Something that looks like me. But it's smiling when I'm not. Listen to me carefully. The celebrities you worship, the idols you pour your money into, they're not always who you think they are. Some of them are victims. Some of them are prisoners. And some of them aren't even alive anymore, just puppets made of flesh and bone, controlled by something behind the glass. I don't know if it's a cult. I don't know if it's government. I don't even know if it's human. All I know is, it's spreading. And if they can erase me, if they can scrub a man like Brennan out of existence, then it's only a matter of time before they replace every single one of us. If you're hearing this, you still have time. But not much. Stay away from Parkwood. Stay away from the mirrors. And for God's sake, don't trust your reflection. Because one day soon, it won't be you staring back. I don't know how long I've been awake. 2 days? 3? Every time I close my eyes, I hear it. That humming. Low. Like a choir singing under the floorboards. I've traced it to the recordings I smuggled out. The ones from the sub-basement. But when I play them, something happens.